Very good morning to you once again and welcome to the newspaper review. We've taken a look at stories making the rounds in front page of the Punch and the Guardian newspaper. But currently we are being joined by Adeni Kunu, is a public affairs analyst and a public affairs commentator. Good morning, Mr. Kunu, and welcome to the newspaper review.
Yeah, good morning and thank you for having me.
Yes.
So I hope I can say Happy Easter.
Yes, Happy Easter to you. It's good to have you this morning. Yes. Mr. Adeni Kunu, before now, the Nigerian presidency, there's been this tussle between the North and the South. It must come to the South. No, it must go to the North. But currently, from the structure that that is emanating from these different political parties, from the APC, most especially, we could see that the presidency most likely will come from the southern part of the country, or they are zoning it to the southern part of the country. We cannot say that for the People's Democratic Party, but the question lots of people are asking is that when it comes to the South, where exactly is it going to go to?
Well, in the first place, I think we should understand the dichotomy between constitutional provision for how election candidacy goes and party constitution for how election candidacy goes. The last time I checked Nigeria's constitution, there has not been any amendment to favor zoning. For political parties, what they have actually done regarding that is to put forward some kind of equity so that no side or region of the country belonging to a political party will feel left out. Having said that, the conversation around zoning for the country is something that we cannot shelve because we're a multi-ethnic nation with diverse tongues and cultures. But even at that in politics, there is always something they call bargaining chip. If you look at the population of the country, you find out that it seems to favor two major tribes, which is not three now.
Okay.
And that is the Yoruba people and the Hausas because of their numbers. But the conversation around the Igbo people coming to the saddle is also a valid point to note. And I don't think anybody should be afraid of having a conversation about an Igbo presidency. But that conversation is only one part. The second part is, what is the bargaining chip of the Southeast going into the election? It is another thing that people have to look at. What is the political strategy that has been put in place for the Igbo people to win over and to get the votes of the people that are across Nigeria? So we have to start now looking at that. Now, if the Igbo people eventually in PDP or APC or PDP and APC, being the two leading parties, get the party ticket to be candidate in the 2023 election, don't forget that there are so many other parties. So we have to start talking about the fact that how then you will sell the Igbo votes to the man who, for instance, lives in Lagos, and he is aware that the Igbo at some time in the past said, you cannot say anybody owns Lagos. Lagos is no man's land. And this man knows that for the past several generations, his ancestors have been here in Lagos.
Okay.
But the person will say, so what I'm bringing out is, an Igbo presidency is something that is not bad. It's something everybody should talk about. But how do we sell the votes to the man who in the north feels like when the Sadana of Sokoto was killed, his great-grandfather that worked in the palace with the former Sadana of Sokoto was also killed alongside the Sadana of Sokoto. And as a result of that, how can he give his vote to the Igbo people? So we have to look at that very serious conversation as well so that we know what we do when and if the Igbo candidate eventually emerges. So these are valid points of conversation.
Okay. Mr. Kunu, let's look at it from another perspective. And I know of the 25% law that applies when different political parties or presidential candidates come to contest election, irrespective of whichever part of the country you come from. You must acquire 25% that is required from different states. And the North, notwithstanding their population, cannot win election by themselves. They would need the cooperation of the southeastern part, the south, the southern part, including the southwestern part of the country. Don't you think if an Igbo presidency or an Igbo presidential aspirant emerges from any of these political parties, it will now be left for the structure of the political parties to bring out or churn out political strategy from their respective zones to make sure to curry the votes of their people to vote for whatever political candidate, most especially from the southeastern part of the country. Is that not possible?
Well, it is very possible. But one thing that we must come to terms with is the reality of politics.
Okay.
And the world over, I can tell you for free, even if the world becomes a global village because of the internet, you still don't win elections on the internet. You win elections when people participate in the election. Even people that vote in the US, for instance, before the day of the elections, that their ballot papers are sent in, they still come out to vote. It means, therefore, that you have to be able to sell the Igbo brand to the people that to do that. Now, don't forget that there are certain concentration of people in different parties. You're talking about the 25%. Yes, 25% of the votes in 2/3 of the country.
Yeah.
Most definitely, you're talking about that. But you see, I keep telling those who care to listen, if you check the major candidates, and so allow me to do this very important dissection for you. Of all the regions of the country, at the moment, the leading voice that many people are talking about from the southeast is Peter Obi.
Okay.
But while people are talking about that, people are also talking about Pius Ayin Pius.
Okay.
Mr. Sokorocha is also saying he wants to become president.
Yes.
Dave Umahi of Ebonyi said he wants to become president. That is one part. So now, let me leave that now and go to the north. In the north, particularly in the northeast, one person is above every other person, and nobody is contesting it. It's Atiku Abubakar.
Yes.
If you come to the north central, or you come to the northwest, one person is head above all. It is Aminu Tambuwal. If you come to the north central, from the northwest, you come to the north central, Abubakar Bukola Saraki is the goal, and nobody is contesting that, as well as the Yabelu. The Southeast must also learn to understand how it manages its internal democracy such that they are able to speak in favor of one person. If you look at the Southwest, if you check the entire Southwest, for instance, Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Professor Yemi Osinbajo declared are the two leading voices.
Yes.
The Southeast has too many people that want to collect the ticket. And if you have a situation where a region wants to produce a candidate that will buy in an election, there should be some kind of consensus because of the importance of political strategy for the emergence of a sole candidate from that region that has been deprived access to the #1 job in this country in terms of politics since the First Republic started. So the picture has to do with internal democracy. If you look at it now, even in the Southeast, according to what I learned, there's a group that has endorsed Peter Obi. But are the other people interested in politics agreeing to the endorsement of Peter Obi? Because we have to understand that the unity of the house matters here. And they always say charity begins at home. So if charity for an Igbo candidacy doesn't begin from the Southeast, how are you going to sell that singular candidate to the people in the Northeast, to the people in the South? If you look at the South, Iye Sonwuke has been speaking very strongly.
Yes.
Emefiele has been keeping quiet because he's the central bank helpsman.
Yeah.
If you look at Rotimi Amechi, he has also declared.
Yes.
So if you look at that region, for instance, one would have expected at the same time that the region that is close to it ethnically, which is people from River State, are able to give support to the Igbo people, but the Rivers people are not giving any support to them. The people from Delta, the Anioma region that are supposed to give support to them, are not giving support. So that speaks volumes about the candidacy from Igbo extraction going into the 2023 election. So when we talk about things that are this serious, it has become very important for us to look inward and how we are able to get things across. For instance, you're talking about the North.
Okay, Mr. Kunu, please, let me butt in here. Thank you very much. Let me butt in here. Yes, now, still within the confines of this zoning discourse, if you observe very well, President Olusegun Obasanjo came in 1999, from 1999 to 2007. 2007, Umaru Musa came in, which it means there was zones to the north. And Umaru Musa, of blessed memories, spent like two and a half years, almost 3 years, and he left. Then President Jonathan came in from the southern part of the country, and he left. Buhari came in. Well, it's between the north, the southwest, the south. Now, will it not, even though it is not constitutionally scripted, will it not be fair if other zones, or if other geopolitical zones allow it to go to the southeast for inclusive government, and the political parties will allow this structure by bringing out representatives from that part of the country?
Okay, it will be very fair, very, very fair for Nigeria to have an Igbo presidency. But I need you to understand that political observers and dissectors like us, we look at a lot of things.
Okay.
The closer the Igbo people were to power, in terms of position and all that, was when Goodluck Jonathan was there. You need to ask yourself, for instance, what happened with the President Goodluck Jonathan administration, especially because he surrounded himself with a lot of people from the southeast. Don't forget that he's chief of defense staff at some point, the Kenneth Minimas of this world.
Yeah.
Well, from a region of the country that has never had the opportunity since we had the civil war of holding such position.
Yes.
How do we deal with the problem of trust? Don't forget here that the Nigerian civil war still has a lot of wounds that have not healed from both sides. The Igbo nation and, of course, the northern region of the country. And the Igbo people also have said it a lot of times that the Yorubas were their traitors, that if Awolowo had not cut off food to the southeast and allowed children in their hundreds of thousands to die of starvation, it will never happen. So we are glossing over serious historical problems because we think that elections can just make us go ahead. No. So I think that the federal government, whoever has that inkling, should be able to allow the wounds heal. Don't forget that the Igbo people after the war were given 20 pounds.
Okay.
That simply means if you have a 3-story building, you have great 20 pounds. Those things are still festering. Distrust is there. Mistrust is there. So the Igbo people now want to assume position, which is their right, which is proper. But are they taking all those things out of their mind so that when they get to the leadership position, they will not begin to be unfair to people the way we are accusing the president now of being unfair in his choice of cabinet members?
Okay,
so
Mr. Kunu.
These are some of the underlying issues.
Okay, yes, Mr. Kunu. Before I leave this topic to another topic, let me quickly just throw this to you. I just want you to do this in a few seconds so we can move to the next topic. Talking about trust. Talking about trust by virtue of the civil war that came, and how the Igbo nation was warring with other parts of the country, and how it died down, and 1970 it was all over. When you talk about trust and distrust amongst this particular region, does it appear that the North trusts the Southwest, the Southeast, and the South in a proportional way? Does the North trust itself, or does the South or the Southwest trust itself? Does the Southeast itself trust itself, or is Nigeria? If we have an Igbo president tomorrow, is Nigeria the kind of country that the president will take a particular action against the ethnic tribe, against one ethnic tribe, and it will stand? Does it look that way?
Okay. If you look at it, trust is always relative, especially when we talk about the interest of the individuals that are in the system created for the trust to come up.
Okay.
Every tribe another.
Yeah.
And if you're not dealing with another tribe, that simply means the trust level is also varying. But according to what I have seen in the Fourth Republic, and if we check the antecedents of history,
okay,
the level of trust that the North has for the Southwest is more than the trust level it has for the South and the Southeast especially.
Okay.
And I have to say that the North has been very unfair in the treatment of Southeast issues especially, because it is not proper to treat a region that way, especially if you are talking about a country that wants to excel.
Okay.
So it has been very disproportionate, and I think that is also a very important issue that we must not gloss over.
All right. Mr. Adeni Kunu, public affairs analyst and public commentator, it's been a very wonderful time having a conversation with you on the newspaper review this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.